Hello there, Jerry Norton here. Thank you for joining me on this video and audio training that we're calling the 7 Habits of the Real Estate Investor Millionaire Mind. That's a mouthful. So as a full-time real estate investor who does deals all over the country and a leading expert on teaching and training everyday people like you how to invest in real estate, what does mindset have to do with being successful in real estate? Well, it has everything to do with it. You see, you can have the best training, the best tools and resources and coaches and strategies and techniques, but if your financial and success blueprint is faulty, none of it will matter because you're subconsciously sabotaging your own success. Okay, so I personally believe that becoming a successful real estate investor is probably 90% mindset and 10% skill or strategy. It's that important. And so I put this training together to really focus on that idea of how to develop the right mindset to be successful. I put together what I believe are the very best books, training systems, tools, software, resources to be able to do deals in real estate and make money in real estate. But I know that developing a millionaire mindset is absolutely critical to your success. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't always aware of this. I didn't always have that kind of millionaire mindset. But once I learned and developed what I'm going to be sharing with you on this training, everything changed for me. And so here's what's important to understand. In order to fully develop a millionaire mindset or paradigm, it has to become a habit, and habits are formed through repetition. Now, there are lots of mindsets to adopt, but I'd like to share with you 7 that have had the most profound impact on me and my most successful students as real estate investors. But before we dive into the 7 habits, I want to first talk about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset and why that's important. So Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck, in her most famous work called Mindset, the New Psychology of Success, she says that one of the most basic beliefs people carry about themselves has something to do with how they view their personality. In other words, what we think and how we think fuel our behavior and predict our success. So a fixed intelligence mindset, according to Dweck, holds on to the belief that a person's intelligence, their character, and their creativity are all static, meaning that you can't change it. And one must strive for success and avoid failure at all cost. In other words, if you're intelligent, you'll be successful, and if you make mistakes, you're not intelligent and therefore a failure. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want to do a diagram on the whiteboard. If you're listening and you're listening to the audio and not watching the video, then I'll be sure to kind of explain this. But think about it this way: on the left-hand side, we're going to put a fixed mindset, and remember, fixed is a static mindset. And then on this side, we're going to put a growth mindset. And a growth mindset believes that it can be developed, right? It doesn't have to stay the same. So that's the difference there. And so let's look at the difference between these two and how things are developed here. So if you have a fixed mindset, then you have this desire to look smart, right? You have a tendency to want to be right and not make mistakes. Whereas with a growth mindset, you embrace challenges, you look for growth. So big difference there. So first thing we're going to say is what happens when obstacles come along. Okay, what's the difference here? So obstacles always come along. No matter what you're doing in life, you have obstacles. So if you have a fixed mindset, what tends to happen? Well, you tend to give up early. You tend to give up early if you have a fixed mindset. Whereas on the other hand, if you've got a growth mindset, then you persist in the face of setbacks. So you're persistent. You persist, even given those setbacks, you keep persisting through that. Now, what about effort? What's the belief system with effort? So if we take effort, what's our effort? Well, if you have a fixed mindset, then you think effort is meaningless. It doesn't matter how hard you try. It's fruitless or worthless because there's nothing you can do about it. You either have it or you don't have it. Whereas on a growth mindset, it's considered the path to mastery. So it's the path to mastery. We'll put that under growth on the right-hand side. And so effort is the path to mastery. In other words, the more you put effort in, the more you try, the harder you work at it, the better you get, the more you grow. Whereas, again, fixed mindset is it doesn't really matter how much effort you put into it because it's something that's innate that you have or don't have. Okay, what about criticism? So criticism is a big part of everything we do. How is criticism viewed? Well, if you have a fixed mindset, then you ignore that. You ignore criticism or feedback. And when I say criticism, useful criticism, right? Like helpful feedback. Whereas a growth mindset, you welcome and you learn from that criticism. You say, what can I take from that? How can I improve? Because I believe in my growth as my mindset, then I can take that criticism and make myself even better than I was before. And maybe you know somebody like that. Maybe you struggle personally with that, where you hear criticism and you say, you know what, I don't even want to hear it. There's nothing that's going to benefit me from, right? Okay, so the other one I wanted to talk about was success of others. Okay, so success of others. So not your own success, but others. How do you view that? This is a big thing here because you see other people successful, and if you have a fixed mindset and you see others' success, then you're threatened by that. And why do you think that is? Why would you be threatened by somebody else's success? Well, with a fixed mindset, you feel like you can't achieve what they have. There's nothing you can do about somebody else's success. So you're envious of that. You're jealous of that, right? Whereas with a growth mindset, you learn from others' success, right? You're inspired by others' success. So you see those other people, you see their success, you want to get there, you want to have that same level of success, and you admire it, you learn from it, you're inspired by it rather than be threatened by it. So what I want you to do right now is, as we've gone through this here, you see we've got the left-hand side, the right-hand side. We look at the difference between having that static or fixed mindset and that growth, which means you can grow and develop. Wherever you're at right now, if you develop a growth mindset, then you can get better. You can reach those higher levels of success. Because when obstacles come, when it comes to effort or criticism or success of others, you're viewing it entirely different with a growth mindset. Okay, and that's how you really start to build yourself as a person. So this is really important. I wanted to first talk about this before we move into the 7 habits. So let's dive in now. I'm going to go ahead and erase this because we're going to put the 7 habits on the board here. And I'm just going to write up on the board here the seven habits. And our first habit is thinking big. So this is a really important one. Think big. This has been a pivotal transition in my life. Most people really don't think that big. They don't think outside of what they're already capable of doing. They don't think, what could I accomplish? What else could I do that's far bigger than who I am and where I am right now today? And so there's a few quotes that I just absolutely love. Richard Branson said, if people aren't calling you crazy, you aren't thinking big enough, okay? So most times when you think big, you have a vision of something bigger, people around you are gonna say, oh, you can't do that, what are you, crazy? And that there's just no way you can accomplish that. But all of the great accomplishments in life, think about it, all of the great achievements in mankind through the history of time have usually come from somebody thinking way outside of the realm of what's possible today. And then they seem to accomplish those great things. And it's that idea of thinking big. I like thinking big. If you're gonna be thinking anyway, you might as well think big. Now, who said that? Donald Trump said that. He says, I like thinking big. If you're going to be thinking anyway, right? We're gonna be thinking anyway, you might as well think big. So keep that in mind as you're out there doing your real estate. When it comes to real estate investing, you may be thinking, you know what? I've got a full-time job. I just want to learn how to do real estate part-time. Maybe on the side, do some deals, make some extra cash. That's great. If that's where you're at, no problem. Get my systems, get my tools, get my training. I'll show you how to do that in the least amount of time, effort, and energy to make as much as you can. But I hope that's not your ceiling. I hope that's not your vision. I hope that maybe that's a springboard into doing more deals and bigger deals and actually achieving financial freedom and being able to work for yourself and some of those bigger benefits of what real estate can do for you. So Another quote I want to share with you is, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful, right? So how bad do you want that? Do you really want that? If you can think big, then you'll make the right decisions to really go after some of those things you want to do. Another one of my favorite quotes along this idea here is Steve Jobs. He said, "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." Okay, so I want you to be thinking more of life-changing. How can I impact my family, others, my own life in a big way? Not a small way, a big way. All right, number 2. Let's move on to mindset number 2 is never stop learning. Never stop learning. Become a lifelong learner. Let me put that on the board. And why is this a habit that millionaires have? Why are millionaires so successful? How did they become a millionaire? It's because when it comes to learning their business, their craft, what they do, they never stop learning. They're constantly learning. They say millionaires have big libraries, small TVs, right? Whereas poor and unsuccessful people tend to have big TVs and small libraries. Well, what does that mean? What is that concept there? The idea there is that you become a lifelong learner. If you're looking to get into real estate, then I want to encourage you and challenge you to learn as much as you can about that technique, about that strategy, about that craft. If you think about it, I think it was Brian Tracy who said, if you just read for 1 hour a day in your field of expertise, then over time you would read, X number of books. And I think he says something like, in 2 years, you would be a world-class expert in that field. So think about that. That's exciting. That's only an hour a day invested in your education and in your ultimate success. So never stop learning is a big one. Zig Ziglar said, if you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you're determined to learn, no one can stop you. That's how critical that is. The secret to success is not to try to avoid or to get rid of or shrink from your problems, right? The secret is to grow yourself so that you are bigger than any of your problems. And I just want to share a quick story in my life in my real estate business where this was the case. Early on when I first got started in real estate, I took on this big project. And it was basically, I was trying to acquire 40 row homes, which is kind of like an apartment building, but they're deeded individually. And so I went through this process of trying to get these. I had a financial partner, and we were only able to acquire about 20 of them. And the other 20 we just could not get. The sellers wouldn't sell, and this was kind of a lower income area. And I could not turn this project around. I couldn't raise rents. I couldn't clean the place up because I was out of my control what the other 20 units were doing. Does that make sense? And so I spent a lot of time in that project trying to make it successful, and then it ultimately did not succeed in the way that most people would determine, meaning that the financially it bombed and we ended up losing a lot of money. And it took me years to kind of pay back those investors and get out of that bad deal. And yet I look at it now, this was several years ago, I look at it now and say, that was the greatest education I could ever have had because I learned so much during that project. And what I learned there propelled me forward to be an even better, smarter investor. And so for me, I don't look at it as a failure, but rather it catapulted my success. Whereas my financial partner, he turned and said, real estate doesn't work. I'm never doing real estate again. And he did not learn from that. Okay, so big lesson there for me on the importance of never stop learning. When it comes to real estate, even today, I still am trying to always learn new techniques, new strategies, new ideas to make me a better business owner and a better investor. Okay, so let's move on. Number 3 is remember your why. Remember your why. Let me write that down. Remember your why. And what does that mean, your why? Why are you doing this? What's getting you out of bed? Why do you want to do real estate? Why do you want to make money doing deals? What is it that's driving you to put in that extra effort, right? What is that vision, that dream you have that compels you? And if your why doesn't make you cry, then it's not big enough. In other words, you put passion behind that why. You put feeling and you put motivation, there's something that's compelling you to achieve success, then it will get you through any of those hard times, any of those obstacles, any walls that come before you, because that why is so much bigger than the problems you're facing right now today, right? And so what is that why? For me, I feel like God has called me to do something bigger, do something big and affect a lot of people's lives, not just a few people's lives. Not just mine and my family, which was my why for a long time, but now my why has expanded into helping other people like you become financially successful, to be able to get out of a job that you hate and don't enjoy and do what you really love and have the freedom and the time to do, be, and have everything that's important to you. And so for me, I feel like I'm supposed to help other people do that. And that gets me excited, it gets me energized, it gets me out of bed in the morning. I can't wait to do it. And I love to see the impact of what I'm doing on other people's lives. Okay, so what is it for you? Is it to take care of your elderly parents? Is it to put your kids through college? Is it to be able to travel? Is it to be able to do charities or causes that you really believe in? What is it? The bigger your why, the more successful you'll be, because you'll be compelled to move forward and do those things that you need to do. All right, so that's number 3. Number 4 is perseverance or consistency. Consistency. When I look at the most successful investors that I know, or business people in general, what made them so successful? It wasn't some big thing usually. It was doing small things repeatedly, consistently, over and over and over again. That's what makes you successful. It's getting up 5 minutes earlier every day, right? It's staying 5 minutes later. It's calling one more motivated seller lead, or knocking on one more door, or whatever it is that you're doing. When it comes to real estate, it's making one more offer. It's doing it consistently every single day today that will give you long-term success later. And I'm a great example of that. When I first started out in real estate, I started flipping junkers in Detroit. I'm talking $5,000 and $10,000 houses. That's where I started. But I consistently did those deals, consistently every day worked in my business and built up and started doing a little bit bigger deals, a little bit bigger deals. Pretty soon I was into kind of first-time home buyer deals around $150,000, kept progressing, and now, 12 years later, I'm developing multi-million-dollar homes. Started out with junkers in Detroit. And so that's the transition that happens. It comes from that consistency. If you want something you've never had, then you'll have to do something you've never done. Thomas Jefferson, I think, was the first one to kind of say that. There's been a lot of variations of that quote or that idea there, but it means putting into practice and doing it every day. What I found is in my training program and in my software and my systems, the people that get my tools, and then I say, okay, go do this, go make offers, analyze deals, do these things. The people that do it every single day are the ones that are ultimately very successful. I'll give you an example. One of my most successful students, his name's Phil Robertson. He's in my Fast Track program, which is my elite training program where I work one-on-one in a small group setting with investors. He started, and in 2 years from when he started, he had done 60 deals. 2 years. Now, how did he do it? Well, he sent mailers out to motivated sellers. I teach you how to do this. But he sent mailers out, but he sends 250 a week. But he started doing that, and then he consistently did it over and over and over again every week without fail. Pretty soon he got to the point where he was having 20 to 30 people call him, motivated seller leads, that he then was able to convert into deals, which turned into 60 deals in a 2-year span. You know how exciting that is? But what was it? Did he do some big thing? No, he just was consistent about implementing the strategy. And the most successful people in real estate and in really any endeavor of life, they apply that principle of consistency. Michael Jordan said, some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, others make it happen, right? And how do you do that? Consistent effort. Let's move on. Number 5, the importance of a mentor. The importance of a mentor. Now, unfortunately, because I'm hard-headed, this took me a while to really grasp the value of a mentor. In fact, I've said this before, I would give my right arm if I could go back and get a mentor, have gotten a mentor earlier. Because here's the truth. I've lost probably hundreds of thousands of dollars that I've lost or I would have earned had I gotten a mentor sooner in my real estate investing career. Once I grasped the true value in a mentor, my real estate business soared. It just took off. Because what does a mentor do? A mentor is someone who's at a place where you're not yet. They've accomplished something you want to accomplish. And they can help you not only avoid pitfalls, but they can help you see things that you just can't see. They can help you get out of your own way. And that's the real value in a mentor. Richard Branson said, if you ask any successful business person, they will always have had a great mentor at some point along the road. Okay, so that's how important that is. If you want to be successful, find someone who has achieved the results you want and copy what they do, and you'll achieve the same results. Tony Robbins said that. Okay, and here's some advice when it comes to a mentor. When you find that mentor, or you think you have a mentor, or you want to reach out to somebody and have them mentor you, don't call them up and say, hey, can you go to lunch? I want to ask you questions. Right? That's the most insulting thing you can do to somebody that's successful that you want to look to for a mentor. And I made that mistake early on. Don't do that. The way you show a mentor that you value them, you value their expertise, their knowledge, what they have, is you have to offer to pay them. Maybe they'll charge you, maybe they won't. Maybe they have a program in place where they set aside a certain amount of time. That's what I do. I'm very busy. I have a big family. I have my businesses. But I do set aside some time where I can personally mentor people. It's not very often, and it's not that many, because it is a big commitment on my part. Whether it's me or anybody else, make sure that you're looking for and you have in your life, in your business, or really in anything you do, a mentor that can help you get to that next level. Okay, number six is win or learn. Have you heard that concept before? Win or learn. Most people think in terms of win or lose, like I'm either going to win or I'm going to lose. But really, and I touched a little bit about this concept, it's Nelson Mandela said, I never lose. I either win or I learn. That's where that idea came from, I think. Win or learn. In other words, you try something, if it works and you're successful and you win, great. Keep doing that. Do that again. If you try something and you fail, don't look at it like a failure. It's not a failure. Look at it and say, what can I do differently next time? What did I learn from that mistake? And if you do that, then they're not mistakes, they're not failures, they're just stepping stones. They just help you move to the next level. I once tried this business idea, and in terms of everybody else, I don't say this, but in terms of what everybody else would think, I failed miserably, and I lost about $20,000, which is a lot of money, right? But I looked at it and said, no big deal. I learned so much. Somebody once said that 9 out of 10 businesses fail. Well, great. That means I need to start 10 businesses to be successful. It's a completely different mindset. It's not failure, it's learning. Try things, get out there. Don't worry about that. Remember the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset? The more you try, the more you get out there and put yourself out there and you're vulnerable and you're trying new things, especially when it comes to real estate, something might not work, but something will work. When it comes to making offers on deals, I make lots of offers. For every no I get, I know I'm that much closer to a yes. Does that make sense? So adapt that mindset, adapt that habit of winning or learning, never losing. And number 7, if I've got room here, number 7 is work on your business, not in your business. So what does that mean? Work on, not in your business. Okay, so if you're getting into real estate, what does that concept mean? Work on your business, not in your business. This idea comes from Michael Gerber. He wrote the book E-Myth, it's called. And in this book, he talks about that. Now, what this means is it means your focus is not on doing a deal. Your focus is on building a business or a system that does deals. See the difference? One is short term, one is in the business, it's in the trenches, it's how do I make money, how do I make money, how do I do a deal and make money? The other one is stepping outside of that in a very strategic, high-level role and saying, how do I build a system that does deals? Because here's the thing you need to understand. The more you focus on a system, then the more you can repeat the process with less work and effort. Does that make sense? So I'll give you an example. In my real estate business, because I focus so heavily for many years now on building the system, it's now a plug and play business. I can go into any market in the country and I can start doing deals, start flipping houses or building and selling houses or wholesaling or doing notes or whatever strategy it is. I can go into any market, put my system in place and start making money and start doing deals. And I can leave the business, I can go home, I can go on vacation, I can do other things, and I've got the right people and technology and processes in place to where it continues to make money without me being there, right? How cool would that be to build a business that makes money that you don't have to be there day to day to do that? So working on your business means that you're spending 90% of your time being strategic and 10% only, tactical. Tactical would be like your day-to-day. Strategic is building the system. It's developing your people, developing your tools, creating processes that can be repeated again and again. And that's what millionaires do. That's what successful business owners do. That's what successful real estate investors do. They develop that strategy, they develop that system that they can continually repeat, okay? So these are the 7 habits. Let me just go through them again real quickly. Think big is number 1. Never stop learning. That's number 2. Number 3, remember your why. Number 4 is to be consistent, have perseverance. Number 5 is get a mentor. Number 6 is win or learn, never lose. And number 7 is work on your business and not work in your business. So here's what I want you to do. Every day in your business, as you're developing real estate, you're working on that deal, whether it's your first deal, your 100th deal, or whatever it is you're doing, I want you to ask yourself, is this the best use of my time right now? And maybe that means putting work aside, putting real estate aside and spending time with your family or your kids. Maybe it's, why am I licking envelopes right now? Why am I doing these more menial things that I can get somebody else to do or have a software or a system that can do that? How do I focus on strategically developing myself as a person, developing these millionaire mind habits, okay, and really growing myself and growing my business? And as you read my book or you take one of my training programs or you get one of my investing systems, or even if you become one of my fast track elite students, whatever it is you decide to do with real estate or really anything in your life, remember, if you want to change the fruits, you first have to change the roots. It's the invisible, what's underneath, that determines what's visible on the outside, right? So if you want to change the visible, you must first change the invisible. Your income, here's what it comes down to. Your income can only grow to the extent that you do. So if you're not fully, totally, truly committed to creating wealth, chances are you won't. And so I want you to commit to it, develop a growth mindset, put into practice these 7 habits, and focus on that growth versus fixed mindset. And I really want to just wish you success in all you do. I want you to know that I'm here for you. Everything that I've developed, all of my systems and my trainings and everything, all of it is designed to help everyday people who have never done real estate before, learn how to get into the real estate game, focus on what's going to work now, do high-level activities that are going to give you the biggest return for your time, effort, and energy, and really just help you be successful. The greatest joy that I have in this business of helping and training others is when I see you become something you weren't before. And when I see you doing the business and being excited about it now and building your own future, not somebody else's future in a job, a job somewhere, right? But building your own future. And I want you to do that. I want you to build that legacy and get out there. Real estate just happens to be that vehicle. I think it's the best vehicle that's available out there for making money and providing everything that you want to do, be, and have and give in your life. And so I'm excited to do that, excited to help you do that. I hope you got a lot out of this training. Please go back and watch it again, watch it several times, listen to it. Make sure you do these things until they become habits. The more you repeat them, the more you focus on them, then the more they become ingrained and they start to become who you are, your belief system, your blueprint, and then you'll start to really see growth happen and changes in your life happen and success. And so this is Jerry Norton again. Thanks for being here with me on this training, and I hope to see you soon.